Good morning, everyone. Welcome to International Conference on Innovation in Information, Embedded and Communication Systems 2017. Myself, Rachna Bhagania. I am a MTech student of Dharamsri Desai University, Nadia. Today I am going to present my conference paper, which is in Sentiment Analysis Approaches for Movie Reviews Forecasting, a survey. Let's begin with the introduction. So for introduction, first of all we need to know what is sentiment. So sentiment is an attitude, feelings, emotion or mood, etc. What is sentiment analysis? Sentiment analysis means mind people's opinion and feelings towards any subject matter of interest, which is called as sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis classifying sentiments in text into category based on sentiment polarity. So now you have a question like, what is sentiment polarity? Sentiment polarity means the state of having two opposite sentiments, opinions or aspects. This polarity can be positive, negative or neutral. There is also a fourth type, a constructive, in which sentiments holder give suggestion to improve that thing. Why there is a need of sentiment analysis, or when a firm or an institution needed public sentiment, what they are generally do, or motivation behind the sentiment analysis. So answer of these questions is, when a firm or an institution needed public sentiment, it conducts surveys, polls using online websites and social media on the web, such as reviews, forums, discussions, blogs and microblogs. From all this they will get billions of information records, but it is so difficult to discover useful knowledge from that such much big records. Each site typically contains high volume of sentimental text that is not always easily decoded from long blogs and forums. So that is why the reader will have struggling for the identifying, extracting and abstracting the relevant information. People are excited to know about this sentiment from other people for their benefit. So when an individual person needed a sentiment, as per human psychology, he or she will ask friends and family. That is the same application for organization. That is why for efficient decision making result, there is a need of automated sentiment analysis system. Now let's talk about the sentiment analysis applications. There are lots of sentiment analysis applications. In fact, in recent years, sentiment analysis applications have opened out to almost every possible domain. Now let's focus on types of sentiment. Sentiment can also be classified into two types, regular sentiment and comparative sentiment. Here is a brief explanation with some of example. First of all, we are focusing on the first sentiment type, which is regular sentiment. It is a simply as review in the documentary, and it also contains the two subtypes, which are direct sentiment and indirect sentiment. So what is direct sentiment? This type of sentiment directly focuses on the entity or the aspect of an entity. Indirect sentiment, sentiment holder directly attached to the target. For example, Khan's shoes is very attractive. So here this review focuses on Khan's shoes, which is an entity, and it's attractive means it's aspect of an entity. Now let's focus on second subtype, which is indirect sentiment. This type of sentiment indirectly focuses on the entity or aspects of entity. This kind of reviews often occurs in the medical fields reviews and product field reviews. Indirect sentiments are either implied as an idioms or expressed in a reverse way as in sarcasm. For example, movie tickets is very expensive or costly. So here this review focuses on the movie tickets price, which is an entity, and its costly means aspect of an entity. The second type is a comparative sentiment. Means in this type contains comparison between two entities or between the aspects of two entities. For example, Dangal is better than Sultan. Storyline is better than just an entertaining film. First review gives comparison between the two different entities, whereas in second review it compares two features of a single entity. So, in short, comparative sentiment gives similarity or differences between two or more entities. Now we are focusing on sentimental documents. Sentiment analysis assumes that the sentimental document expresses sentiment on one entity or object, and sentiment are from one sentiment holder. Sentimental document contain information which can be mainly categorized in two categories, which is subjective sentimental documents and objective sentimental documents. First of all, we are focusing in subjective sentimental documents. Subjective point of view is a personal view, or it might just describe something. For example, when I saw Ritik's sports bike in Doom 2, I longing to buy it and I feel to drive it with my best friend. This is a subjective because it describes how he felt about the drive or about the bike. Here are the words from that sentence that clues you in felt and longing. These words show feelings that is subject to sentiment. Not everybody would feel thus likewise or describe it the likewise. Second is objective sentimental documents. Objective point of view gives only the fact. For example, the sports bike are very expensive. This sentence simply tells about sports bike and the fact is. So this is a sentence. So this sentence is subjective. Now let's see levels of sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis research has been mainly carried out at three levels of granularity: document level, sentence level, and aspect level. Briefly introduce them here. First is document level sentiment analysis. Document level is to classify whether a whole sentimental document expresses a positive or negative sentiment. In short, each document describes sentiment about a single entity. For example, a single movie review. For example, suppose given movie review document, the system will determine whether the review expresses an overall positive or negative sentiment about the movie. Advantage of document level classification or sentiment analysis is when we can get overall polarity about a particular entity. At the other side, disadvantage is different sentiment about different features of entity could not be extracted separately. Second level of sentiment analysis is sentence. In sentence level classification, it classifies sentence into positive, negative class. Sentences are just short document and each sentence contains sentiment about an entity, like multiple movie reviews in a single document. Sentence level classification is better than the document level classification because it analyzes each sentence and unrelated sentence will be removed. Third level sentiment analysis is aspect or feature level. In this, sentiment classification concerned with identifying abstracting entity features from input data. When we analyze a review to identify aspect features of an entity described in a review, it is called features or aspect or word or phrase level sentiment analysis. There are two types of features or aspect level, which is first is implicit and second is explicit.